Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dominion. This is kind of a funny one for me because although Dominion has never featured on this channel, it is actually the first game I ever recorded myself playing back when I was. I don't even know when the heck season 1 of the Dominion League was. I was playing Dominion Online at the time. They're now on like season 54 or something, so it's been a while. But there was a pretty bustling community of Twitch streaming for Dominion, and so I did some, not a ton, but some. I think I recorded both my 2 seasons and maybe some casual games. I don't remember. Anyway, I was just reminded recently that this game exists, and so I thought, let's get back into it. The online implementation is pretty good, and I looked in the lobby right now. There's like over 100 people playing. I didn't do the math, but it was a lot. So it shouldn't be too hard to find a match. We're against a bot right now, so I have time to chit chat. If you're not familiar with Dominion, like, what's wrong with you? But just in case, I will kind of briefly. We'll do a quick game against the bot, I think, to explain like sort of what's going on. Also, like, oh my god, I don't know so many of these cards. Back when I played, I knew all the cards that had been printed, but they just kept printing more, and I haven't played in like 6 or 7 years. So I guess it's about 6, yeah. Dominion is a deck builder. In particular, I believe it is like the deck builder. It was the game that invented the genre of deck building. It's not a roguelike deck builder, which recently became more popular. But it's a board game, card game, I guess. You play it in person, and so some of the it can't do some of the things that a digital game could do, but that's fine. It works pretty well, and the digital adaptation is good. You can play with more than 2 players, but if you do, you're obviously a psychopath. It's I don't know. There are people who think it's a good party game. I very much disagree, because the amount of time you spend waiting scales with the number of players. Anyway, so you start the game with a deck of 10 cards. These are your cards. You draw 5 a turn. Whether you used the card or didn't use it, your whole hand gets discarded at the end of your turn, and you draw 5 more. If you ever can't draw from your deck, you shuffle your discard pile. That forms your new deck, and you draw out of that. So you're kind of gaining cards throughout the game, generally into your discard pile, and that means later you'll draw them and you'll get to use them many times. Makes sense so far? So you're building up a better and better deck, possibly by removing the shitty cards you start with, possibly by adding impactful cards to it. The ultimate goal is victory points. What? Why are you showing me autoplay options? Off. I don't know. I just want to look at a province, though. Okay, well, I guess right-clicking on the right side of the screen is maybe actually. You know what? I bet one of these cards has something to do with exile. I see. Okay, exile is a mechanic I'm only barely familiar with, and I think it makes sense. Like, provinces are a thing you would want to exile, so there's autoplay options for province in this game. Okay, so the ultimate goal is to have the most victory points in your deck or hand or whatever, to own the most total victory points. Province is worth 6, duchy's worth 3, state's worth 1, curse is worth -1. So the highest total number of victory points at the end of the game wins. The game ends when there are no provinces left. Right now there are 8 of them. Or it can end when any 3 piles have run out. That includes all of these 17 piles. If any 3 of them are empty, the game ends. So you can win by just accumulating a bunch of points. You can also win by cleverly ending the game while you're ahead, even by just a little. And one of the things that I think makes Dominion interesting is that there's a trade-off. If you could start the game by putting a province in your deck, sure, that would be good, probably. But if you could start the game by putting an estate in your deck, that would definitely be bad. And in fact, one of the things players want to do is get rid of the estates they started with. Why is that? Well, all estates do, all victory cards in general do, is give you points. And when you draw them, they do nothing. They're not useful at all. They don't help you make your deck bigger in the same way that drawing money does, or actions. And so you want to have a deck that doesn't have a bunch of victory cards in it. But then at the end, you kind of want a lot of victory cards because that's how you win. So there's this kind of parabolic curve of your deck starts out crummy, it gets good, and then you're like, oh, I better start winning, and your deck starts getting worse, and it's kind of an interesting tension there. One thing that sets this aside also from a lot of deck builders is that you don't, when you play a card, it goes in play. It doesn't go into your discard. I don't know why I'm telling you all this before we start playing. Whatever. I'm bad at this. What this means is you can't really go infinite. There's no such thing. I think that's not quite true. You can like you could potentially maybe have some combo that lets you like buy something and then play it, and then buy something, then draw it, and then play it. Maybe, I don't know. Even that seems hard to believe. So you can't really go infinite. You just have to build your dream. Your ideal deck is one that plays all the cards in your deck once per turn, basically. Anyway, so I guess let's just start the game, and we'll look at the cards as we go, because I don't even know what they all do. So it's shuffled my deck of 10 cards. I've drawn 3 coppers and 2 estates, so I know that the last 4 cards are going to be 4 coppers and 1 estate, so I can kind of plan out what I'm going to buy. These 7 cards over here are in every game of Dominion. You can always have coppers, silver, gold. Whenever you can afford them, just buy some. Province, duchy, estate, curse. Yep. The thing that makes Dominion interesting is, well, I don't know, one of the many things. This is what Donald, the creator of the game, calls the Dominion variety mechanic, where there's a large library of what are called kingdom cards, and every game, 10 of them are chosen however you want, but typically people do it randomly, or if you're playing casually in person, you might pick cards that you think are fun or would work well together. In competitive play or with a computer in general, they're usually random. So these are the 10 kingdom cards available in this game. Every card has a cost in the bottom left, so that's how much money you have to spend to get that card. We'll get to actions later. For now, my hand is very simple. I'm just going to play all 3 of my coppers. So these coppers... let's look at the anatomy of a copper, right? It has a 1 up here, which means it is a treasure with value 1. It's got the same 1 here. So when you play this card, you get a coin. This is not the same as a copper. It's a virtual resource. It's just how much money you have available to spend this turn. It's not a card. You can see here we have 3 coins. If we wanted to, we could buy a copper because it has a cost in the bottom left of 0. We're only allowed to buy 1 card this turn, so, I mean, that's one of many reasons it would be bad to buy a copper, but you're always allowed to if you want. When you buy a card, you lose coins, or spend coins, equal to its cost, and then the card is gained, usually to your discard pile. So, a very common thing you might do would be spend 3 coins on a silver. Silvers are... Now, importantly, a thing new players often get wrong is they think that, like, when you play the copper, you're, like, using up the copper. Not so. Just like actions, when you play a treasure, it gives you resources for this turn, but then later it goes in your discard, so you get to play this again. This is why it can make sense to spend 3 on something that only gives you 2. You spend the 3 once, but get the 2 many times. But I need to now look at these kingdom cards to see like if there's any kind of strategy I should have before I pick silver. I think this is one of my favorite parts of Dominion, is trying to find, before the game has gotten started, like, what's the combo here? What synergizes well? How do you make these things work together? Every game is different, in the same way that, for example, Prismata, borrows the Dominion variety mechanic very explicitly. You don't just build a deck and then like play that deck over and over and get better at it. Every game you have to build a new deck. So lackeys. This gives you 2 cards. I could have played with base set, I guess, for the introduction. There are some complicated cards in here, but this is 2 cards, and when you gain it, you get 2 villagers, which means, a villager is a token that you can keep as long as you want and cash in anytime for permission to play more actions. We'll deal with that later. Bureaucrat is, we can't afford any of this more expensive stuff right now, but I still want to look at them, see what my plan might be, which might influence my decision this turn, although I'm pretty sure I'm just buying a silver now. We don't want a bureaucrat. I'm not even going to look at it. Mill, this is like 2nd edition intrigue or something, so all the 2nd edition cards are sort of familiar to me, but not very, unlike the 1st edition cards, which, going up to at least guilds, I know like the back of my hand. So this has this is a victory card and an action card. So I said all victory cards do is give you points. This is kind of a card that does 2 things. Worth a point, and you can play it. It's a cantrip. You can draw it. You're only allowed to play 1 action per turn, so this gives you permission to play more actions on a turn. So you could play the mill as your action, and then that draws you a card, and you get to play another action. And if you want to, you can discard any 2 cards for 2 coins. So it's kind of a cute way to deal with your deck being too full of junk cards. You can trade them in for coins. So now one thing we know is that this is the kind of board where conceivably it might be possible to build a kind of bloated deck full of junk and use mill to throw away the junk. A priest, yes. All the religious cards involve trashing, based like on the old chapel mostly. So it's a $4 terminal silver. Trash a card, and then for the rest of the turn, if you trash a card, you get another 2 coins. Interesting. So it rewards you for trashing, and also trashes. Okay. The temple I've seen. It gives you a victory point and puts a victory point on the temple pile. When you gain 1, you get those victory points. You can trash 1 to 3 cards, but they have to have different names. Okay. Temple seems like it's likely to be a good opening. On the other hand, like, Priest is a trasher that gives you coins. That's kind of nice. Displace. In fact, I think I probably want a Priest. Exile a card from your hand. Oh, God. Okay, so Exile is not the same as Magic Exile. It kind of is. There's a separate zone called Exile, which you can put stuff in. And it's no longer in your deck or discard while it's there. But when you gain a card, if you want to, you can take all the copies of it from Exile and put them back into your discard. So you can like get rid of things temporarily. But you don't necessarily have to bring them back, right? If a province is exiled, it's still worth 6 points, so you would never really have to bring it back unless you wanted the province in your deck for some reason. Exile a card from your hand. Gain a differently named card costing up to 2 coins more than it. Okay, so Remodel costs 4, and this is Remodel with a twist. Instead of trashing the card, you exile it, but you have to pay 1 more for the Displaced than you would for a Remodel. Why is that good? It lets you trash estates and still have the 1 point at the end? I guess that's something. It lets you bring it back, right? If you have, like, I don't know. If you displace golds into provinces, the golds go to your exile, and then when you buy another gold, you can put them all back in your deck. Kind of interesting. Hunting Lodge. Okay, this is a village, basically, that goes well in empty hands. You can discard your whole hand for 5 more cards. That seems pretty good. I don't know. It's like an insurance policy, right? +1 card and +2 actions is a village, and that costs 3. This costs 5, and all it does, is if your hand has dudded out, you can Hunting Lodge to start over. Seems potentially quite strong. Having 1 of these is way better than having 1 village, but having like 5 of these is not much better than having 5 villages, probably. Okay. Pirate is an action duration reaction. So when you play this, next turn you get a gold in hand. It could do other things, but on this board, gold is the only expensive treasure we would want. And when any player gains a treasure, you can play this from hand. Huh. So on the enemy turn, you could play this. So like, okay, say you draw Pirate at the start of your turn. Or at the end of your last turn, I guess. You wait until your turn starts, you play Pirate, it doesn't do anything, and the turn after that, you get a gold. So it's like a gold with a downside, which is that you don't get it for a while. Sort of, right? It's better than that because you can play it multiple times, but that's something it's sort of like. However, it's even better if your opponents are gaining treasure, because then the turn that you draw it, while your opponent is taking their action, if they gain a treasure, you can reveal this and get the gold into your hand for your very next turn, instead of having to wait a turn. So, interesting. If we want a lot of golds, this could be nice. Sentry, I know, it's kind of a draw and discard thing. Oh, this is going to go well with Priest. Because neither of them trash a ton, but they trash a little, and Priest rewards you for having something else trash. Although, Since priest is a terminal, you would have to play a village first, and then the priest, and then the sentry, which is a little hard to line up, but maybe. And then we have Tragic Hero. It's a draw card that punishes you for having a large hand. Well, I don't know. I mean, is it punish? Probably. You'd usually rather keep the Tragic Hero rather than have a gold. But this, turns into a gold if you have too much draw. It says, no, you're not supposed to do that. Take a gold instead. Okay. So after all this, it's very clear that what I want is a silver. Lackeys are okay, I guess. And at some point I will want the villagers, but I think I'd rather just use the hunting lodge most of the time. But if I ever have $2, I'll be thrilled to put a lackey in. Opponent grabs a bishop, or a priest. I keep thinking bishop because that's a card from Prosperity that I'm more familiar with. We want priest, right? Not temple? Yes, definitely that is the case. Okay, opponent buys a silver. There's a nice log over here, so you can always review what happened. So now, this is our first time playing action. So the action phase, there's 3 phases. Actually, I guess in later expansions of Dominion, there's more phases than 3, but normally there's 3. The action phase, the buy phase, and the cleanup phase, ABC, nice and easy to remember. So in the action phase, you have actions. You have permission to play 1 action. I will play it. You must do what it says. So I gained 2 coins. You can see that here. Trash a card from your hand, which means to remove it permanently. I will remove this estate. Yes, trash. And then my action phase is over because I have no more actions. Now we're in my buy phase. I can play treasures. I have $4. Another priest is not insane, but I don't think it's good. I think I'll just take like a mill. It's probably bad. I don't know. I'm probably supposed to take another silver, to be honest. But it always feels bad to buy silvers. I'm just not going to. I'm just going to keep buying mills. Take that. There you go. See, the important thing is to hit 5 eventually and get some of this juicy stuff up here. Don't discard, I guess. Doesn't really matter. And I'll trash a copper. So now I have $6. And at some point I have to decide, like, what the heck my deck is even doing. Which I haven't really done yet. I just said, okay, here's some good cards. Let's try them. Am I going to try to build an engine with Hunting Lodge and Tragic Hero? Probably. Is it good? I'm not sure. I don't really have any attacks. Unless you count Bureaucrat, which I don't. Bureaucrat is so bad. I can't believe this is not one of the cards they deleted from the second printing. It has its, I don't know. Very rarely there's a game where you want a Bureaucrat, but just not usually. If I just tried to play, like, money, what is the enabler for that? I've already kind of ruined it by putting a bunch of mills in my deck if I wanted to play money, right? I guess I have to play a kind of action-flavored deck. Is Displace any good? I said it was okay, and I still sort of think it is. I could displace my coppers into lackeys. Would be cute. Because the bishop, it's not a bishop, it's a priest. I guess it doesn't really care whether you trash. It would rather trash, I don't know. Sure, I'll take a displace, whatever, who knows. Maybe it's bad. We're playing against the computer though, so who cares? And there's all these cards I don't know. So I will discard 1 copper and 1 estate. This would have been worth $1, this pair of cards, but it's worth 2 if you use the mill to discard them, so I can hit 5 again. And I think I'll grab a Hunting Lodge. Opponent's playing Tragic Hero Big Money. That's probably pretty good, actually. It looks like a good money enabler. No, do not discard. Actually, discard nothing, right? Because the priest wants to trash the estate, and then I don't really have two other things to discard. Discarding 2 coppers kind of sucks. I guess I could discard these and not trash the estate. Then I'd have 2 for $6, but I don't want $6. I want 5, right? This also gets me 6, but it trashes an estate instead of a copper, which I guess is better. You know, displace aside, I guess. And let's take a sentry now. We're kind of like over-invested in trashing stuff, I think, but it'll be fine. What displace is for. Okay, so let's displace this estate. Gaining another mill? Sure. Just empty those bad boys out for no reason. I would rather have a lackeys than a silver, I think. So now it says I have 2 villagers. I've never seen the UI for villagers, but that must be what it is. I've never even played a game with villagers in it. Because that was a token kind that came out after I stopped playing. I mean, I don't really want to discard anything. Let's lackeys for cards, and how do I... Okay. Just play some mills. No. Don't discard. Continue to not discard. Now if I priest away the copper, I'm going to get a bunch of coins from all these things trashing stuff. Oh, get rid of all this junk. Yum, 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 yum. I need a tragic hero for the coins. I also need a source of money. Let's displace this silver, I guess, to get that tragic hero I was talking about. Oh boy, I could buy a province. I probably should, since I have displace. Province is kind of like the highest number of victory points you can get, right? Pretty cool. So you might say, why would I even think about not gaining it? Well, because as I said at the beginning, you kind of have this parabolic curve where you don't want to put cards like this in your deck too soon, because they slow down your acceleration phase. I'm going to play the sentry first. I'll trash a copper. And not discard anything. Discard my hand and draw 5. I choose not to do this. If I could do it later, I'd be happy to. But what I want to do is, like, displace this province first. Okay, drawing is kind of... No. Don't discard. Play the lackeys. Play the mill. Discard these 2. I don't plan to play the tragic hero today. Mill again. Discard these 2. And let's displace that province. Oh, wait, that doesn't work. Did it say exactly 2 more? Up to 2 more. A differently named card. I see. They're trying to stop you from using this to just print provinces. Got it. Okay, so let's back this up here. Wait, no, undo. Discard these cards. And displace the priest to get a gold. With my $4, I choose another mill. Let's Sentry to try to find a good card in here. I'll just keep both of those. I mean, I guess I could discard them. Just to save me some clicks. I guess that's fine. Playing them doesn't do anything. So we'll just get rid of both of these. Save me some time. A mill? Ooh. Okay. So I could discard these and just displace the gold into province? And gain another lackeys. I will not do this. Let us Tragic Hero first. Okay. Sentry first. Look for good cards. Whoa! Don't trash those, but do discard them. What luck. What a great scry. Alright, don't discard. Mill. Don't discard, although we might get rid of one of these lackeys at some point. I have some villagers lying around, so I don't have to. Right. But as you can see, I've drawn my whole deck. Okay, I clearly should have discarded these earlier. I didn't realize we were so broke. Let's displace another copper into another lackeys and gain a silver because I don't have enough money. Ah, I could discard the other silver that I have in exile. Yes, I will do this. So now I think I have 2 silvers in there, right? Or maybe even, yeah, just 2. Because we kind of went broke. And now we need, like, I don't know, pirates or something? A pirate seems kind of sick, actually. Discard to draw 5 is actually kind of good right now. These cards all suck. Nice. Don't trash any of that. I could trash the lackeys, I guess. I'd rather displace them, though. I don't really need a big pile of draw, do I? Let's just discard all that. Oh, I should maybe not have shuffled right then. Didn't realize all my provinces were there. Don't discard. I guess I'm playing the lackeys. Kind of bad. There we go. So, let's just displace. Well, I mean, I want the pirate. I guess I'll just displace the silver into a pirate and buy nothing? I don't know, that seems bad. Let's say I don't need the Tragic Hero anymore, and I'll just take a gold. Oh, discard my other golds from exile. God, I'm so good at this. And I'll buy oh, mill costs 4. I thought it was 3 for some reason, but no. Great Hall is like a mill that costs 3 but doesn't have the discard ability, so it wouldn't make sense for mill with the discard ability to also cost 3. I'll just take 1 more silver. And we're not very far ahead of Lord Raddington over here. He's outdone me on provinces. But we have the potential to do a lot of stuff. I think this is going fine. Don't discard, I guess? I don't know. I could discard 1 lackey in the province. Should be okay. Hey, spending villagers on that. That's why I've been gaining them all, is so that when I draw duds like this, I can keep going. I guess, I don't know. Why am I still playing stuff? It's because I want to turn my golds into better cards, I guess. Yeah, because now I could, like... displace a silver into a 5 cost and still buy a province. And the 5 cost that I want is probably another hunting lodge? Maybe a tragic hero. I forget if I trashed one. No. Okay. Actually, it could be duchy time. Let's grab a duchy. Just so I'm not behind on the province race. Okay, so all we have to do this turn to win the game is gain the last province, which should be pretty simple. I'll sentry first. Don't need to trash those. Definitely don't want to trash them, in fact. Do I have $8 yet? No. Do these help me get $8? No. Okay, there's my $8. I'll take the last province and win the game. So that's Dominion. I didn't really intend to do a whole video on, like, explaining the game. But as usual, I got carried away. And we'll play against some humans later. But that'll be in the next video, I think. Was this a good deck? No. No, it was not. Somebody playing something reasonable. I don't know. I was kind of... I got stuff trashed pretty well, but I didn't have enough, like, actual... I don't know. How many turns was this? 14? 15, I guess. I mean, that's not bad for the number of points that I got, actually, but it's not great. Like, that's about how long Big Money plus Smithy takes to get 30 points. So, nothing too impressive. Anyway, we'll get out of here. And the next episode, we'll play again against Human. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.